Hey guys, Regan57 again. Today I want to talk about keybinds and how we can optimize them for our movement so that we are not inhibiting ourselves in any way while we are building, shooting, or whatever else we're going to do in the game. So first and foremost, I want to just bring up the point that if you're going to make drastic changes to your keybinds, be fully willing to suck at this game for at least 2 weeks. I mean, just be ready for it. Probably even longer if you don't have plenty of time. When you make all these drastic changes, it's going to take a long time for your brain to rewire and get used to it. Your finger is going to default to hitting your old bind. And a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll do a full drastic bind rework, and then you'll see 2 days later they just switch back to their old binds. And that is just such a serious waste of time. It's essentially like you didn't really practice at all for 2 days in terms of building muscle memory. And because you weren't playing at a high level while you made that drastic change, you probably didn't get any good practice in any other way either. So just wanted to throw that out there to start. Now, in terms of binds you should be looking at, I believe that there's pretty obvious binds on your keyboard that you should be utilizing. Q, F, C, those are pretty integral. Also, Z and X are very good. For instance, I use Z for my pickaxe. I really, really like Z for pickaxe. I also know people who use Z for floor and for wall. You know, it's totally preferential. Now, what does matter, though, is your ability to transition from one build piece to another. So, for instance, wall floor. Are you comfortable with your ability to go from to do wall floor? So what I mean by that is do that. You know, for me, it's QC. It's pretty straightforward for me. Then you've got wall stair, right? For me, it is actually CF. And it's difficult because both of my binds I use my index finger for. My F is my ramp. So it actually takes quite some speed to drag up and do a floor ramp. And it's something that you just get used to. If it's comfortable for me, I'm going to keep doing it. And it is. And that would be the same for you. Now, if yours is something like XC, and you're doing XC, and it works for you, and you don't feel inhibited by it, then keep doing it. The other ones you got to watch out for, floor stair, and then anything followed by a cone. So let's say wall cone, right? You got to be ready to do wall cones. Got to be ready to do floor cones. That's for tarping, right? Or getting into somebody's box. We want to be able to replace both pieces pretty easily. And then you've got ramp cone. That's just that's obvious. We're always going to be doing it. So those are the ones you got to watch out for. If you have difficulty reaching from one to the other and doing something like crouching, for instance, if your binds are like V and Y or V and T, it's going to be kind of difficult for you to like crouch with left control or shift and also hit your number one keybind if that would be your pickaxe or your gun. So you have to just be thinking how are you reaching across the keyboard in a fight situation. Do you notice that it's really difficult for you to pull out your shotgun when you're doing a certain build sequence? Maybe look at where your shotgun bind is, or maybe look at changing your build piece bind if it's going to be affecting multiple layers of your gameplay. The next thing I want to talk about that's really, really important, it actually might even be one of the last things I talk about, is edit key placement. A lot of people use F or E for editing. You can see that I do not do that. I use B, and I hit that with my thumb. And the reason that I do this is something that I talked about in a video a long, long time ago. If you're inhibiting your movement while you're editing, you're essentially walling yourself off from multiple different possibilities. And if your opponent at a high level of gameplay knows that your edit key is on F, they sort of know that you're going to have a hard time going to the right. So they'll kind of expect where you're going to be moving if you're hitting an edit. You know, and when you think about it like that, it's kind of like, huh, maybe I should open up my mind to more possibilities. Now, most people are tilting their keyboards. As you can see, mine has a slight tilt to it, but some people go full on 90. And if you do that, it opens up T, Y, U, G, H, J, V, B, N, M, K, I even for edit binds. You could use all that with your thumb. There's so many unutilized binds for our thumb. And I'm not really sure why people haven't capitalized on that. And I think it's because they're worried that they're going to be unable to jump, because spacebar is so ingrained for jump in most people. For me, what I do is I have the nail of my thumb resting, essentially that portion of my thumb, the front tip of my thumb resting on B, and then my knuckle and the base part of that pad is resting on spacebar. And I have no issue jumping and editing at the same time. There's nothing wrong with it. As a matter of fact, I encourage people to get used to using binds like V, B, and N, as well as C, I guess, if you'd rather hit that with your thumb, but most likely V, B, and N, even G and H and F. Get used to hitting those with your thumb. I challenge you to maybe add a bind, if not your edit bind, to a button that you press with your thumb. So that is my stance on that, because really it's pretty invaluable to be able to edit while having all of your fingers on the keys. You know, can you do this? I don't know if you can. And if you can't, maybe think about why you can't do it. So anyway, I'm now at this point, I'm just kind of rambling on it. And the last thing I want to talk about is mouse binds. And I think mouse binds are okay for players who do a palm grip. And what I mean by a palm grip is you're literally palming the mouse. Like your whole hand is in contact with the mouse at all times. That's different because then you're kind of using your whole arm and your wrist rather than your fingers to control your aim. Now, what I do is I do a bit of a combination where I play in about a 40 EDPI. And for the most part, for builds, I'm doing large sweeping motions. Like for 90s, you can see I'm doing like sweeping motions right now where I'm having to reset the placement, doing like 3-fo cones and stuff. But for aiming and precision, what I'm actually doing is I'm using my fingertips. I have like a fingertip claw grip, right? So I'm kind of like adjusting where my mouse is by using these micro adjustments in my fingers. And if I had a mouse bind on my thumb mouse, on mouse 4, mouse 5, and I'm trying to hit that while making a micro adjustment, I'm going to fuck my aim up, or I'm going to fuck my build up. And so I just want to make it aware in the forefront of your mind. Just keep in mind, if you have a mouse button that you're utilizing for building, and you also grip the mouse with a claw or fingertip style grip, you're probably impacting your gameplay in a negative way. And I encourage you to migrate your bind from your mouse onto the keyboard. It's going to benefit you in the long run. It may be difficult at first, and you may say, Regan, I have no binds left, dude. I've used all of them. I've used tab. I use caps lock. Okay, where are your thumb binds at? Do you use N? Did you know that I use N as waypoint right now? I hit M with my thumb. I hit B for edit. You know, I could probably use V. V isn't utilized right now. I probably should do that. I probably could make V something else. So keep these things active in your mind. Constantly challenge yourself to be improving. Because for me, for example, there was a scenario where I had my trap on 5. I had my trap on the number 5, what I'm pressing right now, and my cone is on T. Rotate ramp is on R. Use is on E. And so I had all these things in this tight area where I'm having to reach my index finger out away from the movement keys, and it was causing a lot of issues. When I wanted to place a trap, I'd accidentally place a cone. When I wanted to place a cone, I'd actually accidentally place a trap. I was constantly rotating my ramps. These were just things that I would deal with over time, and finally had enough of it, and I moved it actually to my thumb mouse button because I realized that, well, for traps, I can hit my thumb mouse button and just broadly aim. It doesn't really need to be super accurate as long as I'm in the general area, and I can do a sweeping motion for that and then just keep going. And just kind of like hit it really, really quick like that with my knuckle and just keep going. And, you know, those are the types of things you need to be thinking about. Are my binds optimal? Is there any bind that is holding me back? And are my movement keys fully available at all times? And if that is the case and there's no issues with your binds, keep them. Don't make drastic changes for no reason. For a slight optimization, it's probably not worth it. But if it is something that is really going to improve your consistency, I recommend doing it. So that is it for me today. The 1v1 coaching or one-on-one coaching is going great. I have several more clients tomorrow morning I'm really excited to work with. So keep the questions coming, keep the comments coming. Thank you so much for the support. I love talking to all you guys about Fortnite and about mentality in general. So keep commenting. I love it so much. And I will see you next time. Thank you so much. Again, my name is Regan57. My socials are below in the about or the description of the video. So if you want to check it out, see what I do on stream on Twitch, or if you want to kind of see what I'm tweeting, anything like that, feel free to go and have a look. And I will see you next time. Thank you so much.